Well, PK here. This is my wall in my office. Where are all the bookcases? You know what I have? There's no books, no bookcases. What are they gonna do for all those books? The funny part is when I look at all the YouTube channels of all the economists and talking heads, they talk about the gold, the silver, the market, and all these experts in a suit and tie. They show all the books behind them, like they're so smart. Well, maybe they are very book smart, but PK is street smart from experience. Sure, I went to college. What do I have here on my wall? Things that I love. Some artwork. I play tennis, play guitar, boogie board. Anyway, so let's just go over here and turn this thing around. We're at the computer. We turn it around this way. Let's see if we can get something going here with this camera. Hopefully you can see me. I'm centered. Let me take a step. I told you I drink 4 Diet Cokes a day. Doesn't make me fat. And it doesn't make you hungry. Another one of these falsehoods that the diet people tell you. A diet soda will make you eat more. I've been drinking diet soda for 40 years. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today, I think, is very, well, I always say it's very important, but I think you'll find it interesting. Is what is the best way now to trade gold, silver, and Bitcoin? You know, this is, I get this question too from my fitness friends, you know, because they're all your age. I'm one of the old goats. Hopefully I'm not one of these Florida mummies that I call them that. Anyway, what I want to tell you though is that when I started in 1982, I started with gold and silver, and I went over to Bear Stearns, which I mentioned, learned how to trade the other commodities, and then I had my own company, brokerage company, and I can tell you that the gold and silver, this is nothing new. This has always been the most popular. Listen, I used to do 4 cable TV shows live, market update, what I think, things that I'm in. And this is, I think, even before it was called FNN, even before CNBC started. But I was on local cable throughout California. I did some national show, and to get clients, people to make trades, to get clients in the brokerage business. Nothing to do about being an advisor, which was, as maybe some of you know, that was my dream. But I got shifted and having my own brokerage company. But I wanted to tell you that the funny thing is, during at the end of every show, to get the people to call you, you say, hey, I think the D-Mark is going to go up, the currency's a good trade, buy the juice, buy soybeans, short the pork bellies. But I can tell you this, to show the popularity, every time I talked about gold and silver and we're offering a free gold and silver report, the outlook on gold and silver, even back then, 82, 83, 84, the phone rang off the hook. People have always been interested. This is nothing new now. It's just the argument is different. Because we know much different. But I want to tell you that, again, this has always been the case. Silver was, when I was working, I think silver was maybe around struggling between $4 and $5, $3.50, $6. I didn't even go into $6 on those. I had a brokerage company for 3.5 years. Gold was trading, I think, maybe between $250 and $400. Really went nowhere. And so that's point number one, is that there's nothing new with gold and silver. Everyone's always been interested in gold and silver. Same with the bullion. It's no different. This is what I want to tell you people. That it's exactly the same. It's just now, because we have YouTube with them social media, it's just everyone is more in the know. It's more a popular topic. But that's number one. Number two is when the volatility goes up, believe it or not, when talking about the gold, the silver, and the Bitcoin, this is really what I'm focusing on. About is it harder? What's the best way to trade it now? I'm telling you, believe it or not, it's actually harder. When the market gets very volatile, then the skill of when to get in, the timing becomes very important. Now, of course, for you who are buying the physicals and paying full price and you're going to keep it for 20 years, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're looking to trade these things, whether you want to hold them for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, you don't have this 3 years, you don't have a 10-year, 20-year holding period. I'm telling you, the shorter the time frame, yes, the volatility, if you catch it, you can make a lot of money quickly, as we saw what happened in Bitcoin. Really quickly. But don't forget that Bitcoin, I think, came out in 10 years ago. In the first 4 or 5 years, 6 years, really 5 years, it went really not in such a big range. And then all of a sudden it became really big. So I think it's harder to trade these things when it gets wilder. This goes for that with everything, the stocks too. We're talking about gold, silver, and Bitcoin because getting in, your timing, you better have the skill and know how to throw those losers out quickly. And this is not so easy to do, especially when you think it's going to go up, like most of us do. I think these things are going up from here. I'm not a silver bear or silver gold. Yes, I think there's going to be a pullback, but it really looks good to me. Bitcoin too. My time frame is, I think we're going to have a pullback in these things, but I want to tell you that it really takes more discipline if you're a trader, more in the short-term trader. I'm not day trade. Actually, the shorter the time frame, the harder it is. As you get lucky, you can catch it, the big volatility, make a lot of money this window quickly. But it can go against you very fast when you're trading a futures contract, things like this, because of the leverage. And people flip out about this. I mentioned my view about gold, silver, and Bitcoin. For the long term, can't buy it up here. I think we're going to have a pullback because I think we're going to have same with the stock market. Yes, for a trade, short term, 1 to 4 days. Yes, you see, especially the Bitcoin is really moving. Even the silver and the gold have been moving the last couple of days, as you know. But for the longer term, I think you really need to wait. I think we're going lower first in all three of these things: gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Other thing I've mentioned before is the problem with physicals. Again, I don't think this is the way. If you're a physical gold buyer, this is okay. If you're a believer that everything, as I mentioned this before, and I'll say it over and over again, this is not the way to really trade, to be in the gold and silver. This is only for you people who think, if you got currency, it's going to crash. We go this direction. The stock, they're printing in the money, it's going to make everything collapse. If you're one of these believers, then go ahead and pay it, do it this way. It's just not the smart way to do it unless you're all the way this thinking. If you're buying it for diversification, then you should never buy the physicals. Only buy the physicals if you're a believer in the disaster theory. Everything else, forget about it. Let me tell you the problem with the Bitcoin, number 5. Look, I didn't make any money. Did I catch any of this Bitcoin? No, and I'm furious about it because I'm a futures trader. I missed the whole thing. I haven't been able to make one Bitcoin trade. And the reason is when the CME and the Mercantile Exchange that came out with a Bitcoin futures contract, I might have mentioned this before, everybody thought at that time this is going to be the next big volume. All the big guys are going to jump on it because they want the leverage. It's 5 Bitcoins. And the price was maybe at that time 8,000, 5,000, 10,000. It was below 10,000. So the contract size, even if it was 10,000 times 5, you only had $50,000 futures contract is nothing. And so what happened was, I thought, great. With all my skills, I'm going to really let it rip on those Bitcoin futures. And of course, I feel comfortable sending money to a major firm because I'm traded on the Merc. I would never send at that time, even today. Now we know Coinbase is legitimate, and maybe there's some other firms too. But the unregulation it scares me. For small money, okay, it's no big deal. But you're not going to feel too comfortable sending $100,000 to some unregulated firm where there's no regulation. This is my opinion. Now with the Coinbase being a public company, I would feel safe. If I wanted to buy, trade Bitcoin or all these cryptocurrencies, you could use this way. But what happened with the Bitcoin futures, this turned out to be the biggest disaster of any new futures contract that they thought was going to be a big thing. Let me tell you, I happened to start, when I started in 1982 at Bear Stearns, they just came out with the S&P 500 the stock index future. It wasn't an E-mini. In fact, one contract, now sure, the number was much lower. I think we were at 1,000, 1,250 in the Dow. I don't know the equivalent. I don't remember. My mind doesn't have the memory. But the point is that, they tried this. They thought this could be a big thing. And what happened? It did turn into a big thing. And they thought with the stock index futures, so with the S&P, then they added the Dow futures, the NASDAQ futures, and they were much bigger. They were 5 times the size than what they are now. Everything was traded on the floor. And all of a sudden, as the technology grew, as you see, they cut the contract size divided by 5, and now they have all the E-mini futures, which I know you're all familiar with. So again, I drifted off the topic about the Bitcoin futures. So what happened was they thought it was going to be the next S&P, one of these big success stories for the exchange. There's no volume. The volume was like less than 1,000 contracts. Now this is nothing. Remember, the S&P mini is 1 million contracts today. But even back in the day, the big one, before we had the electronic trading, we did 100,000, 150, 2. It kept growing and growing. And I thought something like this, and the problem is, number one, with the Bitcoin futures, one, there was no volume, which means the spread to go in and out for 5 Bitcoins was $80, $100. Well, this is times 5, so that means you're already behind 400. If it's $80 spread, forget about putting stops in. You can't protect yourself. I mean, that's the first problem with the Bitcoin futures, is that back when it started, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and I kept waiting. Well, pick up. Remember, the majority, not the retail small people buying the coins, people on the Wall Street, they didn't want, like the whole thing. They missed it. They didn't really believe it. They thought this is some tulip craze, something like this. So they were wrong. The big hedge funds, Big Bang, they didn't want to participate in this Bitcoin futures, even though their money would be 100% safe at the exchange. They didn't participate in it. And of course, this was disappointing. Next thing you know, Bitcoin's trading 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, $4,000 ranges, going up, and then up to 20,000, back down to 4,000. Yes, and you can say, where's it today? Bitcoin, I think the volume's 10,000. The spread, it is tradable. Now it is tradable. With 10,000 contracts, I could trade it. But you know what they did, that exchange? And they did this right in the beginning too, which is, I think, one of the reasons why, after it started getting accepted, why the big players didn't buy that Bitcoin futures contract, like the S&P or any of the stock index futures or currency futures or gold and silver and the COMEX, is because the exchange set the margin much higher. Usually the margins are average 10% of the value of the contract. They were setting it at 20, 25%, you know, and then as it got wilder, of course this always happens, you know, they start up in the margin, they do this. But even at the height of the pandemic, I think when the stock index, when the market was crashing last March and April, I believe the margin went to 15, 18, 20,000 for a mini S&P, you know, but here with the Bitcoin, during this whole time, you know what the margin is now? It's like 50%. Well, why trade futures? Who's going to trade this? Everyone goes to the futures because they want the leverage. And they kept the whole time, this CME, they destroyed the leverage. And we can say, well, why did they do that? Maybe they were afraid because the swings were so great, you know. So now Bitcoin did 50,000 times 5 Bitcoins. It's a $250,000 contract. You need 125,000, trade one. How many people have this money? Only the hedge fund, the big people. What did the exchange recently do? Now they have the mini Bitcoin, and then the problem with that, they went too small. It's like 1/10 of one Bitcoin. Kind of like what they're doing on Coinbase and Robinhood and all the smaller things to get this very people with a little bit of money to get them trading. I don't know what the volume, if it's been successful or not, but the point is that the Bitcoin futures have been out for PK, and I'm furious because with my skills of a trader, you know, and I love volatility, up, down, even I missed it up. They were great sells, the thing crashing and rallying back up. We've had so many great buy signals. Well, you know, when this thing took off from 4,000 up to 60, and I can do nothing because the margin is it's not worth it. It's 2-to-1 margin. Even you day traders in the stock get 4-to-1 margin. This is even worse. Who wants to trade Bitcoin futures on the CME? Nobody. And this is one of the reasons. So the bottom line is that's what happened with the Bitcoin futures. And I've not made one Bitcoin trade, and I missed the whole thing. And I'm furious about it. And the last thing I want to mention to you about the Bitcoin, one of the big, actually this is a huge negative for you Bitcoin traders, huge, which is they trade the Bitcoin over the weekend. And over the weekend, this is when they can really play games. You talk about manipulation. All markets I have manipulation. Believe me, we all know this. It's just, I think not in the same way maybe a lot of you think it in a different way, different form, but who cares? We know that there's manipulation. But remember, Bitcoin or the cryptocurrencies are the only thing that's open on the weekend. See, the weekend we're supposed to rest, get a break, you know, things like this, but it's not fair because the futures exchange is closed over the weekend. So, meanwhile, if you're long or short on Friday, you know, with a stock market, with any commodity, if you want to hold trades over the weekend, they're not open again until Sunday night in Asia, our time. So here that Bitcoin's trading and the volume is very suspicious, very little. It doesn't take much to move that Bitcoin. I see it, but this is a very big negative. So again, what is the best way, which is about this, what about this video? The best way to trade the Bitcoin is, probably through, you better use some very big stops. You may be very long term and hold it, because you're taking this tremendous risk over the weekend when the volume is very small. It takes very few people to move that Bitcoin, and they move it to screw us all around. So, and this you don't see any other market trading over the weekend. This doesn't exist, but it does for the crypto, and who knows why? I don't understand it either, but they do. So, again, and to trade the gold and silver, to summarize this, what's the best way now to trade the gold and silver? I've said it before and I'll say it again. outside of you physical buyers who think that everything's coming to an end, let's put those you guys aside for a moment. If you're looking to diversify your long-term portfolio, your retirement, your holding period is, you guys mostly are between 20 and 40, looking for the long pull, I think this is a very good thing. 10% in gold or silver, some in the cryptocurrencies. Now they're talking about this Dogecoin. Look, I'm an old person. I don't understand these things. But you remember, I don't care. I don't have to understand. What matters to me is how you handle yourself in the market. I don't care what market it is. It's all about handling the downside. So, back to the gold and silver. I like, as you know, the ETFs, stock ETFs. You know, if you want to play it safe without the leverage. And for you gunslingers out there like me, they're trying to make some money more in the short term, or know how to handle yourself, have the discipline on the downside. Remember, with the leverage, buying a well, I think they have a mini gold and mini silver, so you could get them. I would investigate that, because the big contract's 5,000 ounces of silver and 100 ounces of gold. And we see this gold moving $20, $30. One contract could be at $3,000. You know, and I'm not sure what the margin is now. I think they've moved it down, they moved it up. I'm not sure if it's 8,000, 10,000, 7,000. But the point is, if you're a shorter term swing trader, even if you're going to hold for 6 months, the GLD, as I mentioned before, I think it was SLV. I'm not sure the name of the ETF for the gold and the silver. And also too, this applies to Bitcoin too. I think that's Grayscale. They got some other ETFs, which is a much better way, because you're removing the leverage and you can keep this for the long run. You know, I still don't quite understand. Well, I understand why would anybody send their money in to buy a Bitcoin and have in their wallet, because they want to hide this and that. But look, I'm telling you, PK's telling you, the bottom line is about making money. Who cares? And making money safely. What good is making money if they steal your money? And that's the problem I have with the crypto. Now, I think they've solved that problem, you know, in terms of that. But, so look, if I had a long-term portfolio, and if I was young, don't forget I'm going to be 62, so, and I'm a trader my whole life, so I don't have this problem managing money. I don't have any long-term investments, real estate, owning a home, and some apartment projects, things like this that held for years with my family. So outside of that, I don't really see, you know, much of a reason to trade the Bitcoin, you know, or the crypto. This seems, I told you the negative. So in summary, I kind of rambled again as usual, but look, I'm trying to give you the best tips. Just, you know, say buy it here, sell it here. Everybody else bring their charts up. Everyone's guessing. It's not about that. It's about I don't care what it is, gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Don't want the big three, these big three that everyone's talking about. It's all about what do you do when they go against you. This is PK. Wish everyone to make money. Hope that whatever you're doing, physicals, stock ETFs, the futures. Look, we want to make money because we need to pay our bills now. Not 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's okay for your long term, but what about now? Especially with the pandemic. What can we do now? You know, maybe we can go on some vacations or something, take some trips, or go out to restaurants again, or go to the mall shopping. So, or pay your bills down. If you're fortunate, you have some job to make some money. So I focus on the now. The life is now. This PK, with that out of the box. Ciao, everybody. Talk to you again this week.